everybody, welcome back to my true crime channel. If you are new to my true crime channel, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell button so you can not miss a new true crime video. If you are new to my true crime channel, hi, welcome. If you are not new to my true crime channel, come back. So today I am back and I am finally filming a very first true crime video. It is Friday, January the 7th, and I haven't filmed a true crime video in so long. I haven't filmed almost about like a month. That is that Unsolved case. I was about to say a video of the Joplin Ramsey case. That video got like 79 views, almost 80 views. Now, probably should film Unsolved cases more often. So as you guys seen today's video, as you guys saw the thumbnails, I today's video, I will do the Unsolved case of Natalie and Halloway. I know you guys saw this case before. This case I've been very talked about for so long, past 17 years, almost 18 years. And it's about the case of this girl. She's senior high school. She went to senior trip with friends in different country, and she went missing. And they said that some guys had a lot of suspects involved, but they couldn't find her body. And it declared that she confirmed dead, but they haven't found her body yet. It's been so long, and this case is kind of heartbreaking because she was on like 18. Like she's about to go out to college. She got a whole life ahead of her. It just really unfortunate how this case just happened. Halloway was the first of two children born to Dave and Elizabeth Beth, and she was born in Memphis, Tennessee. Her parents was divorced in 1993. She and her younger brother named Matthew were raised by their mother. In 2000, Beth married George Jug Twitty, a prominent Alabama businessman, and the family moved to Mountain Brook, Alabama. She graduated with honors in May 2005 from Mountain Brook High School, located in the wealthy suburb of Birmingham. She was a member of the National Honor Society and school dance squad and participated in other extracurricular activities. Halloway was scheduled to attend the University of Alabama on a full scholarship when she planned to pursue a pre-med track. At the time of his daughter's disappearance, Dave Halloway was an insurance agent for State Farm in Meriden, while Beth Doty was employed by the Mountain Brook school system. On Thursday, May 26, 2005, Halloway and 124 fellow graduates of Mountain Brook High School arrived in Aruba for a 5-day trip, unofficial graduation trip. The teenagers were accompanied by 7 chaperones. According to the teacher and chaperone, Bob Plumber, the chaperones met with students each day to make sure everything was fine. Jody Brennan, who organized the trip, stated the chaperones were not supposed to keep up with their every move. Police Commissioner Gerald Dumpig, who headed the investigation from mid-2005 to 2006, stated that the Mountain Brook students engaged in wild partying, a lot of drinking, lots of room switching every night, aka sex. You know how teenagers be these days. You know the Holiday Inn told them they weren't welcome next year. Natalie, we know she drank all day, every day. We had statements she started every morning with cocktails, so much drinking that Natalie didn't show up for breakfast 2 mornings. 2 holidays, Holloway's classmates Liz Clean and Clara Fireman agreed that the drinking was kind of excess. Holloway was last seen by her classmates around 1:30 a.m. on Monday, May 3rd, as she was leaving the Orange Estate bar and nightclub Carlos and Charlie's. She left in the car with a 17-year-old boy named Joran van der Schue. I'm sorry saying his name wrong. A Dutch honors student who was living in Aruba attended the International School of Aruba, and his 2 Surinamese friends, brothers 21-year-old Deepak Kope, the owner of the car, and 18-year-old Statish Kope. Halloway was scheduled to fly home later that day, but she did not appear for a return flight. Her packed luggage and her passport were found in her Holiday Inn room. Aruban authorities initiated searches for Halloway throughout the island and surrounding waters but did not find her. Immediately following Halloway's missed flight, her mother and stepfather flew with friends to Aruba by private jet. Within 4 hours of landing on the island, the Twitties presented the Aruban police with the name and address of Van der Sloot, who was the person with whom Halloway left the nightclub. Beth stated that Van der Sloot's full name was given to her by the night manager at the Holiday Inn, who supposedly recognized him on videotape. The Twitties and the friends went to the Van der Sloot home with two Armenian policemen to look for Halloway. Van der Sloot initially denied knowing Holloway's name, but he told the story corroborated by Deepak Gopi, who was present in the house. Van der Sloot related that they drove Holloway to the California lighthouse area of Arushi Beach because she wanted to see sharks. They later dropped Holloway off at her hotel around 2 a.m. According to Van der Sloot, Holloway fell down as she exited the car but refused his help. He said that he and Cope were driving away. Holloway was approached by dark men in a black shirt similar to those worn by security guards. The search and rescue efforts for Halloway began immediately. Hundreds of volunteers from Aruba and the United States joined in the effort. During the first days of search, the Aruban government gave thousands of civil servants the day off to participate in the rescue effort. 50 Dutch Marines conducted an extensive search shoreline. Aruban banks raised $20,000 and provided other support to aid volunteer search teams. Beth Tweedy was provided with housing initially at the Holiday Inn, where she continually stayed in the same room her daughter has occupied. She subsequently stayed at the residential suite or the nearby Wyndham Hotel. Reports indicated that Halloway did not appear on any nighttime surveillance camera footage at the hotel lobby. However, Tweedy has made varying statements as to whether the cameras were operational that night. According to an April 19, 2006 statement made by Tweedy, the video cameras at the hotel and were not functioning the night Halloway vanished. Tweedy has made other statements indicating that they were working and has stated so in her book. Police Commissioner Jan van der Straten, the initial head of the investigation till his testified retirement, said that Halloway did not have to go through the lobby to return to her room. The search for physical evidence was extensive and subject to occasional false leads. For example, a possible blood sample taken from Deepak Kopa's car was tested but determined not to be blood. American law enforcement cooperated substantially with Aruban authorities from the early days of the investigation. U.S. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice stated to reporters that the United States was in constant contact with Aruban authorities. Another State Department official indicated substantial resources were being applied to this as the Aruba officials continued to ask for more. On June 5th, Aruban police detained Nick, John, and Abraham Jones, former security guards from nearby Edinburgh Hotel, which was then closed for renovation on suspicion of murder and kidnapping. Authorities have never officially disclosed the reason for the arrest, but according to the news accounts, statements made by Van der Sloot and the Kope brothers may have been factored in the arrest. Reports also indicated that the two former guards were known for cruising hotels to pick up women, and at least one of them had a prior incident with law enforcement. John and Jones were released on June 13 without being charged. On June 9th, Van der Sloot and the Kope brothers were arrested on suspicion of the kidnapping and murder of Halloway. Aruban law allows for investigators to make an arrest based on serious suspicion. In order to continue holding the suspect in custody, an increasing evidential burden must be met at periodic reviews. According to Dumpig, the focus on the investigation centered on these three suspects from the get-go. Dumpig stated that the close observation of the three men began 3 days after Halloway was reported missing. An investigation including surveillance, telephone wiretaps, and even monitoring of their email. Dumpig indicated that the pressure from Holloway's family caused the police to permanently stop the surveillance and detain the three suspects. As the investigation continued, David Cruz, spokesman for the Aruban Minister of Justice, falsely indicated on June 11 that Halloway was dead and the authorities knew the location of her body. Cruz later retracted the statement, saying he was the victim of a misinformation campaign. to the Associated Press that one detained young man admitted something bad happened to Halloway after the suspect took her to the beach and the suspect was leading the police to the scene. The next morning, prosecution spokeswoman Vivian Vander Biesen refused to confirm or deny the allegation, simply saying that the investigation was at a very crucial, very important moment on June 17th. A sixth person later identified as disc jockey Steve Gregory Croyes was also arrested. Vander Straden told the media that Croyes was detained based on information from one of the other three detainees. On June 22nd, Aruban police detained Van der Sloot's father, Paulus Van der Sloot, for questioning. He was arrested the same day. Both Paulus and Creos were ordered to be released on June 26th. I just don't understand as to why they keep arresting these people, but they keep on releasing because they got no evidence. If y'all kept saying that they got person interest, why can't you just take the DNA test or take the Delta test and then arrest them? I just don't understand that. During this period, the suspects who had been detained changed their stories. All three indicated that Vandersloot and Halloway were dropped off at the Marriott Hotel Beach near the Fire Fisherman's Huts. Vandersloot stated that he did not harm Halloway but left her on the beach. According to the state Scottish corporate attorney David Cock, David Vandersloot called the Park corporate to tell the latter that he was walking home and sent a text message 40 minutes later. At some time during the interrogation, Van detailed a third account that he was dropped off at a home and Holloway was driven off by the corporate brothers. He picked this account to the story stating, the latest story came when Van saw the other guys, the corporate brothers, were kind of finger pointing in his direction and he wanted to screw them also by saying he was dropped off. But that story doesn't check that at all. He just wanted to screw the Park. They had great arguments about this in front of the judge, because their stories didn't match. This girl, she was from Alabama and she's not going to stay in a car with two black kids. We believe the second story that they were dropped off by the Marriott. Following hearings before a judge, the culprit brothers was released on Monday, July 4th, but Van was detained for an additional 60 days. On July 4th, the Royal Netherlands Air Force deployed three F-16 aircraft equipped with informed sensors to aid the search, but the results came up empty. In March 2006, it was reported that the state line photos were being compared with photographs taken more recently in an attempt to find unexpected shifts of ground that might be Holloway's grave. The local gardener came forward with information a small pond near the Aruba Raccoon Club, close to the Marriott Hotel Beach, was partly drained between July 27th and 30th, 2005. According to the judge tweeted, the gardener claimed to have seen Van attempting to hide his face as he drove into the Raccoon Club with the Calpet brothers on the very early morning of May 30th between 2:30 a.m. and 3 a.m. Nancy Grace described the gardener as the man whose testimony cracks the case wide open. Another person, the jogger, claimed to have seen men burying a blonde-haired woman in the landfill during the afternoon of May 30th. The police had searched the landfill in the days following Harvey's disappearance. Out of the jogger's statements, the landfill was searched 3 more times. The FBI used cadaver dogs to assist in recovery operation. The searches were fruitless. Holloway's family initially offered $175,000 and donors offered $50,000 for a safe return. 2 months after her disappearance, the reward was increased from $200,000 to $1 million, with $100,000 reward for information leading to the location of her remains. In August of 2005, the reward for information leading to Natalie's corpse was increased from $200,000 to $250,000. The FBI announced that Aruban authorities had provided its agency with documents, suspect interviews, and other evidence. Investigators found a piece of duct tape and strands of blood hair attached to it. The samples were tested at a Dutch lab. A group of European police and prosecutors' office then traveled to FBI Central Laboratory at Quantico, Virginia, to consult with American investigators. Their hair samples were then tested a second time. The FBI announced that their hair samples did not belong to Halloway. The Koch brothers were rearrested on August 26, along with a new suspect, 21-year-old Freddie Orambates. Orambates' a lawyer said that his client was suspected of taking photographs of an underage girl and having inappropriate physical contact with the same girl. This incident allegedly occurred before the Halloway disappearance. Orambates' friends Van and Colbert brothers were supposedly involved in the incident. Van der Sloot's mother, Anita, stated, "It's a desperate attempt to get the boys to talk, but there's nothing to talk about." While no police explanation was then made for the Colbert rearrest, Don Pig later said that it was an unsuccessful attempt to pressure the brothers into confessing. On the 3rd, the 4 detained suspects were released by a judge despite the attempts of the prosecution to keep them in custody. The suspects were released on the condition that they remain available to the police. On September 14th, all restrictions on them were removed by the Combined Appeals Court in the Netherlands, Natalie, and Aruba. In the months following his release, Van gave several interviews that explained his version of the events. The most notable interview was broadcast on Fox News over 3 nights in March of 2006. During the interview, Van indicated that Halloway wanted to have sex with him, but he did not because he didn't have a condom. He said that Halloway wanted them to go stay at the beach, but then he had to go to school in the morning. According to Van, he was picked up by a Swedish Colbert at about 3 a.m. and left Halloway sitting on the beach. First of all, why would you want to leave 3 a.m. and leave this girl who is from the country, leave her alone by herself at the beach at 3 a.m.? That doesn't make any sense. In August 2005, David Cope's attorney stated that his client had gone to sleep and he had not returned to drive Van home during 2006. Authorities were interviewed, or in some cases re-interviewed, several of Holloway's classmates in Alabama. On January 17th, Aruban police searched for Holloway's body in dunes on the northwest coast of Aruba, as well as areas close by the Marriott Beach. Additional searches took place in March and April 2006 without results. Shortly before leaving the case, Don Pig gave an interview to CBS in which he stated that he believed Halloway was not murdered but probably died from alcohol and or drug poisoning, and that someone later hid her body. Don Pig also said that Aruba had spent about $3 million on the investigation, which was about 40% of the police operational budget. Don Pig indicated that there were evidence that pointed the possession of the illicit drugs by Halloway. Members of Halloway's family had denied that she used drugs. Yeah, that's crazy because why would they think that she used drugs? Y'all don't know she used drugs, and your family says she doesn't use drugs. If you look at her picture, she looks like she didn't do any drugs, so why y'all say that she did drugs? On April 11, 2006, Dave Halloway published a book co-authored with R. Stephanie Good and Larry Harrison called Aruba, the tragic, untold story of Natalie Halloway and a corruption in paradise that recounted the search for his daughter. 2006, arrest of new suspects, Dutch investigation takeover edit. On April 15, 2006, Geoffrey Van Koevoort was arrested by Aruban authorities on suspicion of criminal offenses related to the dealing in narcotics, which according to the prosecutor, another individual with initials AB was arrested on April 22nd, but released the same day. It is like y'all keep naming these new suspects to the case, but y'all keep on releasing them the day after. I just don't get it. Like, it just doesn't seem, it's just not adding up to me. On May 17th, another suspect, Guido Weaver, the son of a former Arabian politician, was detained in the Netherlands on suspicion of assisting in the abducting, battering, kidnapping, and killing of of Halloway. Weaver was questioned for 6 days in Utrecht. Arabian prosecutors initially sought his transfer to the island, but he was instead released by agreement between the prosecutor and Weaver's attorney. On April 27th, a new search involving approximately 20 investigators was launched by the Van der Sloot family residence in Aruba. Dutch authorities searched the yard and surrounding area using shovels and then metal rods to penetrate the dirt. Prosecution spokeswoman Van stated the investigation has never stopped and the Dutch authorities are completely reviewing the case for new indications. A statement from the prosecutor's office related the team has indications that justify a more thorough search. Investigators did not comment on what prompted the new search, except that it was not related to the Van der Sloot's book. According to Paula's Van der Sloot, nothing suspicious was found, and all that was seized were diary entries of him and his wife and his personal computer, which was subsequently returned. According to the Josie Mincer, managing editor of Ruba's Daily newspaper, investigators were following up on statements made during early suspect interrogations regarding communications between the culprit brothers and Van der Sloot. He also said investigators could be sin, whatever that word is. The investigators could have been seen examining a laptop at the house. On May 12th, the culprit family residence was searched by the authorities. The two brothers were detained for about an hour upon objecting to the entry by police and Dutch investigators, but were released when the authorities left. According to the cook, the brothers objected to the search because officials did not show them an order justifying the intrusion. A statement from the justifying the A statement from Van did not mention what, if anything, officials were searching for, but indicated nothing was removed from the home. A subsequent statement from her ministry, Van Aruba, indicated that the purpose of the visit was to get a better image of the place or circumstances where offense may have been committed and to understand the chain of events leading to the offense. Citing citing was citing what was described as newly discovered evidence. Aruban investigators rearrested Van and the Cooper brothers on November 21st, 2007, on suspicion of involvement in manslaughter and causing serious bodily harm that resulted in the death of Halloway. Van der Sloot was detained by Dutch authorities in the Netherlands, while the Cooper brothers was detained in Aruba. Van was returned to Aruba where he was incarcerated. Soon after, Dave Halloway announced a new search for his daughter that probed the sea beyond the original 330-foot depths in which earlier searches had taken place. That search involved a vessel called the Persistence and was abandoned due to the lack of funds at the end of February 2008, where nothing of significance was found. On November 30th, a judge ordered the release of Cooper brothers despite attempts by the prosecution to extend their detention. The brothers were released on the following day. The prosecution appealed their release, which was denied on December 5th, with the court writing, notwithstanding extensive and lengthy investigations on disappearance and on people who could be involved, the file against the suspect does not contain direct indications that Natalie passed away due to a violent crime. Van was released without charge on December 7th due to lack of evidence implicating him, as well as a lack of evidence that Halloway died as a result of violent crime. The prosecution indicated they would not appeal. On December 18th, prosecutor Hans Moser officially declared that the case was closed and that no charges would be filed due to lack of evidence. The prosecution indicated a continuing interest in Van and the Cooper brothers and alleged that one of the three in a chat room message had stated that Holly was dead. This was hotly contested by Deepak Cooper's attorney, who stated that the prosecution, in translating from Papiamento into Dutch, has misconstrued in reference to a teacher who had drawn as one to Halloway. Attorney Ronald Wicks also stated unless Mose finds a body in the bathroom of one of these kids, there's no way in hell they can arrest them anymore. On January 31st, 2008, Dutch crime reporter Peter claimed that he had solved the Halloway case. DeVries stated that he would tell all on a special television program on Dutch television on February 3rd. On February 1st, the Dutch media reported that Van made a confession regarding the Halloway's disappearance. Later that day, Van stated that he was telling the individual what he wanted to hear and denied any involvement in the disappearance. The same day, the Aruba prosecutor's office announced they were opening the case. The broadcast aired on February 3rd, 2008, included excerpts from footage recorded from hidden cameras and microphones in the vehicle of Patrick Van, a Dutch businessman and ex-convict. Van was seen smoking marijuana and stated that he was with Halloway when she began convulsively shaking that became unresponsive. Van stated that he attempted to revive her without success. He said that he called a friend who told Van to go home, who disposed of the body. An individual repeated to be this friend, identified in the broadcast as Derry, has denied Van account indicated he was there in Rotterdam at school. The Aruban prosecutor's office attempted to obtain an arrest warrant for Van based on these tapes. However, a judge denied the request. The prosecutor appealed the denial, but the appeal fell on February 14th. The appeals court held that the statements on the tape were inconsistent with evidence in the case and were insufficient to hold Van Slot. On February 8th, Van der Slot met with Aruban investigators in the Netherlands and denied that he said on the tape was true, stating that he was under the influence of marijuana at the time. Van indicated that he still maintains that he left Halloway behind the beach. In March 2008, news report indicated that Van was secretly taped after giving an interview for Aruban television. Van, under the impression that cameras had been turned off, disclosed that he had been a friend of Van's for years. Said that he had met Van in 2007, that he expected to become a millionaire through his involvement in the Halloway case, and that he knew the person who supposedly disposed of Halloway's body, and that Van had asked him for 2,000 euros to buy the man's silence. According to the Dutch news service NP, Van, who had already assigned a big deal, was furious at learning of the taping and threatened the interviewer who sought legal advice. Van booked overboard, cooperating with EU buyers released on June 25th. Van was arrested on December 13th in Netherlands for allegedly hitting his girlfriend with a crowbar and engaging in risky driving behavior while fleeing with police. The DeVries broadcast was discussed in a seminar by Dutch legal psychologist William Albert Wagner, who indicated that the statements did not constitute a confession. Wagner criticized Des Reeves for broadcasting the material, stating that the broadcast made it hard to obtain a conviction, and had Dave Reeves turned over the material to the authorities without broadcasting it, they would have held all the trumps. On November 24th, Fox News aired an interview with Van Sloat in which he alleged that he sold Halloway into sexual slavery, receiving money both when Halloway was taken and later on to keep quiet. Van also alleged that his father paid off two police officers who had learned that Halloway was taken to Venezuela. Van later retracted his statements made in the interview. Fox News also aired part of an audio recording provided by Van, which he alleged is a phone conversation between him and his father, in which the father displays knowledge of his son's perpetrated involvement in human trafficking. According to the most, this voice heard on the recording is not that of Paulus Vandersloot in the Dutch newspaper. Reported that the father's voice is almost identically that of Joran Sloot himself, trying to speak in a lower tone. Paulus died of a heart attack on February 10, 2010. On March 20, 2009, Dave Halloway transported a search dog to Aruba to search a small reservoir in the northern part of the island. The reservoir was previously identified by a supposed witness as a possible location of Natalie's remains. Aruban authorities indicate that he had no new information in that case, but that Halloway had been given permission to conduct the search. On February 23, 2010, it was reported that Van had stated in an interview that he had disposed of Holloway's body in a marsh on Aruba. New Chief Prosecutor Peter Blinken indicated that authorities had investigated that the latest story and had dismissed it. Blinken said that the locations, names, and times he gave just did not make sense. It doesn't make sense because why you keep going to interview after interviews with people who care about this case? Why you keep making things up, locations, where you dispose the body, date, time, and everything? It does not make any sense. It is not adding up. In March 2010, underwater searches were conducted by Aruban authorities after an American couple reported that they were snorkeling when they photographed when they thought there might be human skeletal remains, possibly those of Halloway. Aruban authorities sent divers to investigate, but no remains were ever recovered. On March 29, 2010, Van contacted John Q. Kelly, Batui's legal representative, with an offer to reveal the location of Holloway's body and the circumstances surrounding her death. If he were given advance of US $25,000 against a total of $250,000. After Kelly notified the FBI, they arranged to proceed with the transaction. On May 10, Van had $50,000 wire transferred to his account in the Netherlands. Following the receipt of $10,000 in cash, they were videotaped by undercover investigators in Aruba. Stated that the information that he provided in return was false because the house in which he said how his body was located had not been yet built at the time of his disappearance. On June 3rd, Van was charged in the U.S. District Court in Northern Alabama with extortion and wire fraud. U.S. Attorney Joyce White Vance obtained an arrest warrant and transmitted it to Interpol. On June 3rd, Van der Sloot was indicted on the charges. As requested, U.S. Justice Department authorities conducted on June 4th raid and confiscated items for two homes in Netherlands. One of the homes belonged to the reporter who had previously interviewed Van and claimed knowledge of his criminal activities. Aruba investigators used information gathered on an extortion case to launch a new search at the beach, but no new evidence was found. Dave Halloway returned to Aruba on June 14th to pursue possible new clues. 2010, 5 years to the day after Halloway's disappearance, Stephanie Flores Ramirez, a 21-year-old business student, was reported missing in Lima, Peru. She was found dead 3 days later in a hotel room registered in Van der Sloot's name. On June 3rd, Van der Sloot was arrested in Chile on a murder charge and extradited to Peru the next day. On June 7th, Peruvian authorities said that Van confessed to killing Flores as he lost his temper because she accessed his laptop without permission and found information linking him to Halloway's disappearance. Police Chief Cesar Gardier related that Van told Peruvian police that he knew where Halloway's body was and offered to help Peruvian authorities to find it. However, Gardier stated that the investigation was limited to the case in Peru and then questions about Halloway's disappearance was avoided. On June 11th, Van was charged in Lima Superior Court with first-degree murder and robbery. On June 15th, Aruban and Peruvian authorities announced an agreement to cooperate and allow investigators from Aruba to interview Van der Sloot and Miguel Castro prison in Peru. In a September 2010 interview from the prison, Van reportedly admitted to the extortion plot, stating, "I wanted to get back at Natalie's family. Her parents have been making my life tough for 5 years." In June 11, 2012, Van pleaded guilty to murdering Flores and was sentenced to 28 years in prison. In June 2011, 6 years after Natalie's disappearance, Dave Halloway filed a petition with the Alabama courts to state to have his daughters declared legally dead. The papers were served by his ex-wife Beth Tweedy, who now is a petition to oppose the petition. A hearing was held September 23, 2011, at which time probate judge Alan King ruled that Dave Halloway had met the requirements for a legal prescription of death. In June 12, 2012, a second hearing was held, after which Judge King signed the order declaring Natalie Halloway to be dead. On November 12, 2010, tourists found a jawbone on the Aruban beach near the Phoenix Hotel in Bubali Swamp. A preliminary examination by a forensic expert determined that the bone was from a young woman. A part of the bone was sent to Hague for testing by the Netherlands Forensic Institute on November 23, 2010. Aruba Solicitor General Todd Goldstein announced that based on dental records, the jawbone was not of Halloway, and it was not even possible to determine whether it had came from a man or a woman. In 2016, Dave Halloway hired a private investigator, T.J. Ward, to once more go through all the evidence and information related to the disappearance of his daughter. This led to an informant, Gabriel, who claimed to have been roommate of one of Van's closest friends, American John Ludwig, in 2005. Gabriel claimed that Ludwig was told what became of Natalie. In an interview with the Oxygen television channel, Gabriel gave a detailed description of what happened on the night of Natalie's disappearance. Oxygen created a new documentary series on Natalie's disappearance that aired on August 19, 2017. Using Gabriel's information, the investigators have found what appeared to be human bones. On October 3, 2017, DNA testing concluded that one piece of bone was human but did not belong to Natalie. On the show, Ludwig claimed to have helped Van dig up, smash, and cremate Halloway's bones in 2010. In February 2018, Elizabeth Halloway sued the producers, alleging this and other claims are fictional and harmfully lurid, and that she was misled into providing a DNA sample for comparison without being made aware of plans for a show. Is that how this happened to Natalie Wade? I think my theory is that she probably went to the car, with Van and his two couple brothers. probably something bad happened, or they probably planning, like to kidnap her, probably, try to have sex with her, but she didn't want to have sex because she was drunk or whatever. Probably kill her or probably string her, I don't know what. Had someone, his friend, dig up this man on her body and drove off and never seen again. I think that's what my theory. That's exactly what happened. But my thing is that if you're not involved in her disappearance, why do you keep on doing interviews at interview after interviews after interviews with people just for money, just because you want to get back with her family because they didn't like live in hell? Like they just want to find her daughter. They just want to find someone daughter. They want to find a daughter. If it was your kid, it was your sister, you probably done the same damn thing too. It just crazy how people are so desperate for freaking money that they would do anything, man. Like you kept on naming places, naming everything, naming time everything, but you keep many things up just because you want some money out of your pockets. You could travel around the country and then you're this free man. I just don't understand that. But they had like 5, 6 suspects involved, but none of them was even arrested like that because they have like evidence. In this case, it just is awful. I just do not understand why they keep arresting these people and they don't have any like in this got a lack of evidence. I just don't understand that. This case is so sad. It's devastating. It's been 17 long years, almost 18 years, and it just hasn't been solved. It's still like unsolved, and just it's so sad. Like it just it's devastating that the daughter isn't found alive. She probably is dead. They declared her dead in 2006, no, 2010, and it's just awful. It's really, really, really awful, really sad. So if you guys watched and hope you guys enjoyed today's true crime video. If you guys any other true crime cases you guys wanted to cover, talk about, make sure it's comment down below. Make sure like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in this true crime video. Oh, and happy new year to everybody. It's my first video of the new year 2022. This year will be a good year, and I hope you guys have a great year full of success and full of positive vibes only. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.